you probably are going to lose all your muscle. So if you've been training for 10 years and you're on steroids and testosterone, it doesn't matter. You will start to atrophy. You will look like a little bitch if you don't do this program. So if you want to get girls, if you want to, you look obviously, if you don't know by now, I'm obviously trolling, all right? So it is clickbait, but hold on, before you click off, relax. I still do have something that is going to be most definitely optimal for you. It is going to be a very, very, very fun video, especially for those who love the gym, love to learn about hypertrophy. Today, I'm going to be bringing you on board with me and showing you how I think and how I create my programs, okay? And actually, fun fact, I actually recorded this video yesterday, but I didn't have my mics, and it was just like all over the place. You're gonna see me go through every single thing. So let's just go straight into it, okay? So firstly, what has my current split been, and how long have I been training for? So I've been training around 3 years now. I would say 1 year was like inconsistent with or without a program. It was like, you know, kind of it wasn't really consistent with a program. I would say that. But 3 years of like, all right, 2 years of consistent training, and then 1 year was somewhat inconsistent. And then the first year too, I wouldn't say I had the most intelligent programming, but I did somehow, you know, I did okay. I did some sort of decent program. Now looking back at it, I love upper lower. I've been running upper lower for the past 3 years. Full body splits, I've done that as well, and I also did push pull legs for like 2 months. After 2 months, I was like, I'm gonna go back to upper lower. So upper lower is like it's my baby. I love upper lower. So that has been the current split that I've been doing, and I also been training where I train my clients, which is at Independent Training Spot and at the Live Method in New York City. And there's pretty much no machines, there's no cables, there's none of that. So from a hypertrophy standpoint, free weight stuff, I've had to experiment with what exercises to do for maximizing hypertrophy, which is pretty good because it gave me experience on becoming a better personal trainer, training clients without machines, right? But with that being said, I did miss having some stability. I did miss having stable exercises and optimal equipment. So here we are today. So my thought process behind creating a program, you know, it should always be based off of what do you enjoy doing, number one. Number two, what can you adhere to? So actually, I'm going to put that number one should be adherence. Can you actually put it into practice? So an example would be if it's a 5 times a week frequency, but you're struggling getting 1 or 2 times in, then you know you're better off starting off with the 3 times a week frequency. So frequency on how often you can train throughout the week is important on which program you should do. So from a hypertrophy standpoint, I do think that upper lower and full body are superior to all other splits. So there's bro splits, there's push pull legs, there's shoulder and back and shoulder and legs. All those splits to me, I don't find them effective compared to an upper lower or full body split. It's just better in terms of splitting things up, in terms of what exercise selection you get to do on what day and how fatigued you're going to feel and be after the workout as well. So yeah, from that standpoint, I do suggest either upper lower or full body. Now here's the question: is upper lower better or is full body better? And this has been something that has been going around in the fitness industry, whether you should do an upper lower or full body split. So in my opinion, I do think that a upper lower is going to be it's just my favorite. I think most people are going to enjoy upper lower over full body for, I would say, a number of reasons. Number one would be just your exercise variation. I think you're limited in terms of how many exercises you can put and then how often you can train those exercises. You could set it up where you put like 10 exercises or 12 exercises in one day. You do one set each, and then you train that same workout 3 times a week. You'd have the same exercise every single workout. You do that 3 times a week, and that would make sense from a physiological standpoint because you'll hit every single muscle. You'll do your best to hit every single region as well. Every single region is probably not the best choices of words, but you know, from an optimizing hypertrophy, it is important to vary your exercises. So I think if you look at the practical side of things, it just makes sense to do it upper lower, but full body can definitely work, especially for beginners. And it's absolutely a great split. You know, looking at it, you get to train, for the most part, you get to train most muscles 3 times a week. Some two joint muscles are not going to be hit sufficiently compared to, like for example, would be your triceps, like hitting your long head. What else? I mean, somewhat of your gastroc because, you know, when you do squats, you're not really hitting your calves, so you have to do calf raises. You have to do leg extensions if you want to optimize your quad development because of the rectus femoris, and also your triceps. You have to do long head exercises. So you'd have to make sure that you're training that at least 3 times a week or 2 times a week. So it can get a little tricky, right? So from a practical standpoint, upper lower will be a superior split if you're more intermediate to advanced. And if you are a beginner, or if you're just limited on how frequent you can train, then I would absolutely advise that you do a full body split. Now, moving on, I want to take you through what my program is going to entail and what is the perfect, most optimal, most sufficient, maximal program that you can do for me. So it could work for you if you are someone who can train 5 times a week. If you're someone who wants to prioritize their shoulders, their arms, and somewhat of their lats, right? So this program is designed to grow your arms and your shoulders. Those are the two priority muscle groups that I'm focused on. Over the past 3 to 5 months, I want to say, I've been running an upper lower split, and it has been just free weight stuff. So I'm going to screenshot this. Boom. I'm going to show you what I've been doing. And I just recently started adding a third rotation. All right, so doing upper body 3 times a week. Now, the reason why I'm doing upper body 3 times a week and my legs only 2 times a week is because I want to get as much growth as possible, as fast as possible for my arms, my shoulders, and a little bit of my lats as well. Now, I know because of how complex program can be, and making sure that you don't start to atrophy other muscle groups, you know, it's most likely just going to be just my arms and my shoulders that are going to get the best growth. My lats maybe, but again, it is basically a 3 times a week upper body, and I'm really experimenting with this because I've been running upper lower 4 times a week for quite some time. Now, if you were to do lower body 3 times a week, you know, lower body, like your quads can pretty much recover really relatively quickly, but I think it could be pretty fatiguing. But I don't know, I haven't done it, but who knows? I might run it in the future and we'll see how it goes. But the point behind doing 3 times a week of upper body is to make sure that I am maximizing the stimulus and recovery and the weekly net stimulus. So, you know, if you think about it, hitting a muscle more frequent throughout the week is gonna lead to faster adaptations if that muscle has recovered within the next session. So if you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's say you hit arms Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if it is recovered by Wednesday after your Monday session, then absolutely you'll get some stimulus from that. And if it is recovered again from Wednesday to Friday, then you'll get some stimulus from that as well. So you're basically making faster adaptations. Now, other muscle groups like my chest, my quads, my hamstrings, my calves, my just every single other muscle group, I'm looking to either build somewhat, just probably at a slower rate, and or to maintain. And it's okay if I maintain muscle mass in those areas. I'm okay with that. My calves, probably I want them to grow too, like a lot more than everything else. But if you're someone who wants to have a well-balanced program, this is not the program for you. This is going to be the program for bigger arms and bigger shoulders. And also you'll probably have the benefit of gaining bigger wings. So it's going to help you achieve that V taper physique. That's what we're looking to accomplish within this program. Okay. Now, let's talk about my overall training length. How long is every single workout going to take? It should take about an hour. It shouldn't take more than an hour. Honestly, sometimes like on today, I just worked out and I actually put this into practice. You guys didn't get to see that. And this is going to be a 2-part series, by the way. I'm just going to say it here in the middle of the video. So make sure that you stay for part 1. Part 2, I'm going to actually experiment with the workouts. You guys are going to see me do it in the gym so you guys can like, you know, so we can have more fun together. Why not, right? And then we can finalize the program because I like to put things into practice. That just gives me a different perspective from a practical standpoint. Like, okay, if I do this exercise, back to this exercise, back to this exercise, how do I feel? How fatigued do I feel? Do I feel pretty good? And how long is it taking me, right? I want to be in and out within an hour, to be honest, if I'm being productive throughout the rest of the day. So every single workout is going to take like an hour to finish. It shouldn't take longer than that. And then in terms of equipment, so my equipment is actually pretty versatile and it's actually really good equipment. So I just got myself into the IronPunisher gym. It is located in the Bronx. It's right near New York by the bridge. So is that, yeah, by the bridge. You can swap some of these exercises because I'm going to get into exercise selection in a minute. But I want to go over what equipment we're working with, right? So if you guys don't know, we have a leg press, we have a hack squat machine, I have a chest press machine, a conversion chest press machine, and also a incline chest press that's plate loaded. I have a chest fly that I could do plate loaded, or I could do it with the stack, which actually I prefer that one. I have a cable stack, a dual cable stack, and this one is by Prime. There's a lot of adjustments that we can make in terms of where to put it. So this is a very, very, very versatile cable setup. Then we also have a preacher curl machine where we could actually do one. There's the option where you could put a unilateral preacher curl and it's just pad on each arm, but a regular preacher curl will do if you have a preacher curl machine. Machine dip, chest supported T-bar row. We have 2 types of chest supported T-bar row, one that's parallel to the ground, one that's 45 degrees. We have 4 horizontal rows, and 2 of those rows you can alter the resistance profile, which I'm going to get into in a minute. And there's also a machine shoulder press plate loaded. There's a there's dumbbells, and I even have a bench where the back, you know how in a chest press you'll have an arch. So this bench is actually pretty cool because it will naturally have that curvature with your back. So that way you're braced throughout. You're basically braced on the bench the whole entire time, which is pretty cool. It's not necessary, but it's cool. We also have a glutes machine, 2 glute machines, one unilateral hip extension and one that's somewhat of a glute bridge hip extension. There's 2 calf raises machines, and from my understanding, I think that's it. I might be missing some right now on the top of my head, but I can't think of any right now. Now, I've been running this upper lower split. I've been doing free weight stuff. I'm just gonna go over what my current split has been. A front squat, nerda curl, a glute hip drive, which is the parallel glute hip extension, a weighted belt calf raises. I used to do those with the bench and the weight belt, and then abs. And then I would do on my upper body, I would do a single arm preacher curl, I'll do a chest press, I'll do a shoulder press, I'll do a chest supported row with the dumbbells, a dual tricep extension, and a cable rear delt extension. Then on my other leg day, I would actually do 2 sets of JM press with the bands. I would do stiff leg deadlift. I'll do glute bridge. a Bulgarian split squat, a weight belt calf raise, and then upper B would be a cable curl, pull up, chest supported row, chest fly, single arm Y raise in a lengthened position, a rear delt, and then my last upper body day was a chest supported row again, inclined cable press, a lying Y raise, a Kelso shrug, dumbbell curls, cable rear delt fly, and a dual tricep extension. Now, I have done the liberty of already done the liberty. I have taken it upon myself to create this master program, this beautiful creation already. So you guys, I'm going to bring you through my thought process and what my thoughts are. Again, this is part one. So this is not the finalized program, but it is pretty much done if it goes all well. So on my lower days, so the way it's split up, on Monday, I have lower body, and this is going to be a lower body 1. Then on Tuesday, I have my upper body. This is going to be my upper body 1. Then I'm going to rest. Then I have lower body on Thursday, and then upper body again on Friday. This is lower 2, upper 2, and then rest on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I have an upper body 3. So those are 3 upper body days: Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, right? So now in terms of the exercise selection and the volume and the rep ranges. So we're going to get into the rep ranges and volume in a minute, but the exercise selection is actually really important for what we want to accomplish and if we want to make this optimal. So my thought process behind this, when I'm thinking of exercise selection, is one, is it scalable? So can I progressively overload with it? And most of the exercise selections that I have here are going to be machines. So it's going to be pretty scalable, pretty easy to add on load over time. That's the first thing. The second thing, again, is it stable? Machines are pretty stable. 3, is it going to target basically all divisions is it going to target all divisions of what muscle group I'm trying to target? Now, that is a bit nuanced because, like, for example, a chest, right? A chest has 3 divisions, lower, middle, upper, let's say that. And when you do like a chest press or a chest fly, you're actually working all different divisions. Now, the thing is, there's also specific regions. When you alter some of the exercises, you can actually have specific muscle fibers working to a significant degree depending on what exercise, because that exercise can have a different resistance profile. So just keep that in mind. The resistance profile does matter when it comes to exercise selection. So if you don't have access to the equipment, I will eventually drop this out in part 2, and I will give some different variations that you can do if you want to do what I do. For most people, they're just going to be like, well, I just want to see how you program, you know? All right, so let's get into it, man. All right, so we have the lower A. So let's talk about why I chose this exercise order and selection. So for starters, we have the first exercise of the week is going to be the leg press calf raise. Now, the gastroc, the calf consists of the gastroc and the soleus. The soleus is kind of like underneath the gastroc, and the soleus is the one that attaches to the knee. So when you have your knee bent, you're working soleus. Now, the thing is, like, when you do a seated calf raise, this just has really, your soleus is not going to add much to your calves. It really will not. And also, just seated calf raise to me is a waste of exercise selection, especially if you just want the gastroc to predominantly grow, which is like, usually the beef part of your calf, which most people want to grow. So I will be doing just leg press calf raises for both lower body days. Now you may be like, what? So you're not doing a seated calf raise, I'm not doing a standing calf raise. And the reason for that is just because I'm just braced, I'm more stable, I'm able to load it pretty heavy. So I don't have to, you ever get that annoying feel? For some reason, when I do calves, I don't know what this is, but my knee's pretty straight and I have this sensation to pee. I don't know. Have you guys experienced that? And I think I have plantar fasciitis because the bottom of my foot, when I get in a fully dorsiflex position, my ankle's like flexed, I can feel the bottom of my foot and it burns whenever I do standing calf raises. And when I do leg press calf raises, I'm fine. So for that reason, I will be doing a leg press calf raise. I'll be going pretty heavy. Now, here's the thing. The range of motion is going to be cut off. So I'm not going to go all the way in the shortened position. Now, the reason behind that is because your gastroc has pretty poor leverage once it starts to go above whatever degrees that is. So, like past, let's just say, whatever is a neutral foot position, that is literally how far you need to go. Once you start to point your toes far out, you don't really need to go in those ranges, and your gastroc doesn't have good leverage there either, so you won't really be getting much stimulus from it. You'll just get a lot of fatigue. And it'll kind of limit how much you can load the gastroc. So in terms of efficiency, I'm just going to cut the range of motion. And yeah, I'll be doing a leg press calf raise. Then the hack squat. So I have hack squat or a leg press. So this requires experimentation. I need to see exactly, I need to see if this is what I want to do. Because this is going to depend on getting a very flexed position. My knee, I want it to be completely my quads, I want it to be in a very lengthened position, and I want to make sure that my knee is completely flexed. Now, the lengthened position, I kind of don't care, but I do want to get in a really good knee flex position because that's where my quads are going to experience the greatest amount of external moment arm. And then as I push through that in that mid-range, I will get a lot of stimulus from that. Which I'm not going to get into all that. But yeah, and there's some stretch mediated hypertrophy that I could benefit off of doing that as well. So I'm either going to choose a hack squat. Now, if I was to do a hack squat, I would do it banded. Reason for that is because as you start to come up throughout the movement, it will get a lot easier. So if we're looking for efficiency, I just want the resistance profile, so how difficult it is throughout the range of motion, right? So we have the bottom, middle, and the top range of motion. I want it to be equally as hard, where I want it to match. I want it to match the strength of the quad. So for the quad, I think it has the best leverage in the mid position. So essentially with my knees around like a 9 degree. So I want most of the load there. And then, or I could be wrong, but I do want more. Basically, I want it to be where it's kind of heavy at the bottom. So it's pretty heavy. I'm going to say pretty heavy because that word changes it, right? Pretty heavy. Then it gets peak force around like where the knee is completely at a, essentially, I'm just going to do it banded. Now, you don't have to do it banded and where it gets more and more resistance as you push up, because the band is going to add resistance as you push into the band, right? And as you extend the band, your quads are resisting that. So that's the reason of doing it banded. But maybe I just do a leg press, because the leg press can actually have, I'm sure that they have leg presses where I can change the resistance profile. So that would be just a lot easier to put into practice. That's the only reason why I would do the leg press. And then for the third exercise, we have a seated hamstring curl. So the reason why we're doing a seated hamstring curl over all other curls, which is just a lying leg curl or some sort of standing leg curl. So, the standing leg curls are pretty shitty. You have like really poor stability and not good leverage in that position. So the seated hamstring curl by far has been shown to train most regions. I think there's one specific part of your hamstring that isn't really hit, but that will be hit in lower B. So seated hamstring curl is going to be really, really, really well to hit this, to hit the hamstrings. And you also can lean forward and hold on to the handles for a little bit of a stretch mediated hypertrophy, which would probably benefit if you're a beginner, but after that, you don't have to do that. Then there's the leg extension. Now, I had to make sure that I fit in the leg extension twice a week. So this is going to be a bilateral leg extension. It's going to be, and also with this, I have the prime leg extension, so I can make it also difficult at the bottom. which I may or may not do. I don't think I need to do that because I've already trained the hack squat and the leg press. I mean, and I'd probably be pretty fatigued. So the more I train in that lengthened position, the more muscle damage I'll accumulate. So I probably won't do it where it's too difficult in the bottom. So we'll see with that. We're gonna experiment. We're gonna look at it in part 2. Taking a little commercial break, guys. So while we're taking this break, real quick, tell me, what is your favorite exercise in the comments? And do you prefer to hit legs or upper body? I think a lot of people like to hit upper body over legs. But I'm not gonna lie, you do get this satisfaction when you get a really good squat. When you hit a squat and you get stronger in a squat, I feel like there's just like a feeling that's unmatched to an upper body exercise, in my opinion, just because of how hard a squat is. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Do you prefer getting stronger in a squat or in a bench press? I feel like some of you guys don't hit legs. So, and what's your favorite lower body exercise to train? Lower body exercise to do. Do you prefer hinge or squat? I feel like hinges I'm like naturally strong in, so like a stiff leg deadlift or RDL. I don't know. There's like deadlifts are a lot more fun and it's not as cardiovascular. So for me, I definitely like it. But then for a squat, depending on what squat I'm doing, dude, if I get too tired too quickly, I'm like, fuck this shit. I don't want to do it no more. All right, so we are back, and yeah, let's continue. So where were we? We were talking about the seated hamstring curl. You get some stretch, medial hypertrophy. Oh no, sorry, we were talking about the leg extension. So yeah, most likely I'll just make it pretty difficult in the middle and at the top. Then the hip adduction. So the great thing about just being in the gym again is that I get to hit my adductors. You could do the free weight, or you could do like a stiff leg variation or some side, and also even in a hyper extension, you hit your adductors, but you just won't get as much direct work from a hip adduction machine, so you just need to do a hip adduction machine if you want to maximize your adductor growth, which I do want. This is what's going to get us bigger looking legs from the front, so we definitely want this. And then the last exercise is going to be a unilateral glute hip extension. Now, I have one in the gym. I do need to check out the resistance profile with that. I need to see if there's pretty good leverage for both my upper and lower glutes to work. If not, I've done like cable, like unilateral glute kickbacks. I do want to do a unilateral movement here just for the motor unit recruitment. You tend to get higher motor unit recruitment with single arm stuff. So for or single leg stuff. So doing it at the end of the workout makes the most sense since you'll be fatigued. But in this case, I need to experiment to see which unilateral glute movement we're gonna do. But that is the lower one. Now, upper one. What did I come up with? Free weight preacher curl. The Smith. So free weight preacher curl is gonna actually be a single arm free weight preacher curl. The reason why I chose to do this over the machine is because of the resistance profile, right? So as you start to come up, with the, I believe it gets more and more difficult as you start to come in that shortened position. Is it that? Yeah. So it kind of sucks, to be honest, a preacher curl machine. But you could adjust it where you could adjust either your positioning on the machine, you could elevate your arm, like you could do a couple things. You could put you could put plates on the machine to make it the resistance profile, to change the resistance profile. But in my opinion, I mean, I have no problem using a dumbbell, so I'm just gonna do that. So free weight preacher curl, and I'm gonna do a single arm free weight preacher curl. Now, for me, my biceps have been like my lagging muscle group, like has been the most underdeveloped muscle group I think just because of genetics, my biceps are so bad, in my opinion. So for me, I want to build bigger biceps, and obviously I want bigger triceps too, because my triceps are not even that good either. So both my arms suck, both my biceps and triceps. But we are going to be prioritizing the biceps over the triceps, just by a slight bit. So putting it first in the exercise makes sense. Then the Smith JM press, and I'm gonna do this banded. So the JM press, if you guys don't know what that is when you are essentially moving your shoulder and your elbow at the same time, and you have the Smith machine. You're holding it. You're putting it around like chest, like upper chest or your clavicle. You're lining it up there, and there's a lot of elbow torque and elbow bend here. So it's a really good exercise specifically to hit your lateral and your medial head. But the way that I'm going to be doing it, based off of the exercises that I have available, I chose this exercise because, for one, I can easily load it. It's pretty stable. Two, with the bands, it will slightly target more of will essentially, I'm going to hit different regions or different parts of the lateral and medial heads. I'm going to be working them to a significant degree. And I say significant degree, it's like you can't really quantify it, but looking at the data, you will be hitting different parts of your lateral and medial heads more than if you were to do it without peak resistance at the top. So as you start to come in a shoulder flex position, where your shoulder is fully flexed and you're pressing against bands and the resistance is peaking here, like in this end range, then you actually will be working slightly different, just slightly. Sorry, I keep saying just slightly and stuff, like I understand the quantitative differences, like slightly, significantly. Like, chill, Johnny, come on, bro, what's going on? I don't know how much, all right? I really don't, but I do understand that you will be slightly altering which part of those heads are going to be working. That's it. I'm not going to get into detail there. That's why I chose to do it banded, and I will have my shoulder fixed. The reason why I'm not moving my shoulder is because your long head is actually attached to your shoulder. Don't quote me on that. I know it is attached to your shoulder, but it's attached to your shoulder essentially, where when you flex your shoulder and you extend the shoulder, then the long head is going to be both lengthening and shortening at the same time, because it's also attached, or it's also attached to the elbow. So you're moving the elbow and the shoulder at the same time. So yeah, so we have the Smith JM press banded for that reason, and we have the shoulder fixed so I can hit all three heads, long, medial, and lateral head. So then after that, we are going to do a Smith machine shoulder press. We're going to make sure that this is in the frontal plane. So I want to make sure my arms are out by the side. And the main function here is going to be shoulder abduction with my shoulder. Now, because of the fact that it's on the Smith machine, my hands are fixed, I probably won't. So like as I press, my hands are probably going to be out here. It won't be coming in, so it won't be adducting as much. But it will still hit my front and medial head to a good amount, and it will slightly work different regions. So we have the Smith machine shoulder press. We have the chest supported row. So this chest supported row is going to be a machine, and it is also, the resistance profile is going to be altered. So I'm going to make it most difficult at the middle range. I'll make it pretty difficult in the top, and I'll make both the beginning and end both the same, and I'll make it the heaviest at the middle. Okay, because your lats do, if you look at the length tension relationship and the internal moment arm, they do have, it pretty much has really good leverage within that middle range, and then toward the end range, I want to make sure that I am not, I don't have max load there, because sometimes people give out. And depending on the range of motion is not going to be all the way back, so I'm not going to bring my elbows all the way back, or else it will be more of a you'll start to involve more traps and rear delts as you do that. My elbows are also going to be pretty tucked, so it's going to be in this sagittal plane here. I mean, it's going to be a sagittal plane anyway, but I'm going to make it a lot more low lats by performing my elbows right by my sides because of this shoulder extension function that I'm doing, right? So I have the shoulders extending as I pull the elbows down. And so that is the cool thing with that chest supported row. Then we have the chest fly. So the chest fly, we have two different options. I haven't tried either chest fly machine. I tried the one where I'm pretty much laying down, but that chest fly resistance profile sucks. It's more difficult in the shortened position, and then in the lengthened mid position, there's like little to no resistance. And on top of that, like you have to like load it up really heavy for it to be effective, and you can't even load it up that much. So that machine is it's a waste. Like they should probably replace that with something else. Anyways, there's the other chest fly machine. So if you look at the exercises that we have here for upper one, right? We have the free weight preacher curl, the Smith JM press, the Smith machine shoulder press, the chest supported row, the chest fly, and then we're going to finish it off with Kelso shrugs. Now, this is only 6 exercises, so there's only really 6 exercises every workout. It's not a lot of exercises, but I am hitting pretty much the arms, both the arms and the shoulders, lats, and chest, and upper back, upper and mid back, all in one upper body session with each exercise, right? So now moving on, we are going to go into lower 2. Now, in my lower 2 workout, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use one of the exercises for my arms, for my biceps. Reason for that is just at this point, I should be recovered enough to where I can hit my arms again. So I will do the dumbbell curl. So dumbbell curl is gonna make it where it's more difficult in that middle range, which is where I want it to be the most difficult. I have a bell curve resistance profile there. Then I have the leg press calf raises again. Now, I forgot to answer this question, and I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, so maybe I'm getting too like redundant with some of my explanations. I don't know for who else this may apply to, but when you're doing YouTube videos, do you usually stay on topic? Like this video in my head, in my brain, it goes like very smooth, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. Like, let's do it. And then when I start recording, I start yapping. Like, I'm already 20, 30, 40 minutes in, and I'm talking about different regions and shit. I'm talking about resistance profiles and all this nonsense when I just need to go over the program, which, yeah, that's essentially the program, but I'm like getting too deep into it. Like, yeah, sometimes it could be stimulating, but sometimes it's like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Like right now, I'm doing that right now. Anyways, I'm not gonna be my own hater, all right? If I talk, I talk. You guys are gonna have to appreciate the content. So the leg press calf raise, why do I have that first? I have that first because, for one, it doesn't involve much muscle. Gastroc is not a huge muscle. It's a single joint movement. So it's not going to impede much on my hip thrust or hip extension exercise, right? And also my calves are one of my weaker points of my physique, especially since I haven't been able to train them really well with free weight stuff. I haven't been able to load them heavy enough to where I can do like a good 4 to 6 rep range. So the leg press calf raises, I know for a fact I will gain faster. I will have faster growth from my calf raises. Now, if your calves are pretty developed and you want to follow this program, I will suggest that you put the calf raises as your 5th exercise. So before the single leg exercises, put it right before that. That's where I would have put it if, yeah, I would put it there. Anyways, we have that again. Then we have the hip thrust. So the hip thrust is actually a really good exercise for hitting your glutes. It has been shown through the EMG data and looking at where the leverage, the internal moment arm data as well. You have pretty much, you're hitting pretty much most of your glute max, even and if you point out your feet, you bring your feet wider, you get a little bit more upper glute as well. Since your upper glute is an external rotator, a hip abductor, it does two of those functions. When you point out your feet, you slightly go into external rotation, and if you make your feet wider, you're also adducting your femur. So you can do that if you want bigger upper glutes, which is what I'm going to do. Then I have a hip extension. So this is going to be a hip extension at a 45-degree. Now, I'm mainly looking to target my hamstrings with this exercise. So I will not be doing this with a band, which is what you would want to do if you want to make it predominantly glutes. I'm going to load this with some sort of barbell or something of that nature where I can load it pretty heavy, and I'll see how that goes. I actually have not done that yet, so I'm excited for that. If you don't have a hip thrust machine, you can just do a glute bridge on the floor. I recommend you do a glute bridge on the floor compared to a hip thrust on a box or bench. The reason behind that is because when your feet is on the ground and your hips are on the ground, you have a larger internal moment arm. So essentially, you'll have bigger amounts of leverage at that bottom position to perform hip extension, meaning that your glutes are going to be working to a, I was going to say significant degree, but it's just essentially going to be more efficient for your glutes. But you could do hip thrust if you want. It's totally fine exception if you like it more. You could do the Smith machine hip thrust variation as well. That I would probably recommend over the glute bridge in my opinion. So maybe you get like a little small box and you do a Smith machine hip thrust there. Anyways, you guys get the point there. Then we have the hip adduction. So the hip adduction, I'm going to train that twice a week. And that is going to be my 5th exercise for both days. So I'm hoping that the amount of fatigue would be around the same. And I can progressively overload pretty smoothly on that, doing that twice a week. The same number of exercises basically. So yeah, and then we have a unilateral leg extension. So I'm going to do that leg extension twice a week. So for anyone who's not doing leg extensions twice a week, you should absolutely do a leg extension twice a week. And since it's a unilateral movement, it is going to be, again, it's the motor unit recruitment is going to be, you're going to be better off doing a unilateral leg extension in this case. And I'm actually going to make it difficult at the bottom. I'm going to make it difficult at the bottom, middle, and top with this leg extension, since I don't really train any squat or leg press variation on that day. So now that you guys got that, we are going to go into upper 2. We're going to go into the incline seated tricep pushdown. So I'm going to be seated. I'm going to have the cable attachment right by my head. I'm going to grab some sort of bar, and then I'm going to perform tricep pushdowns like that. Now, this is a very good way. Once you get pretty strong, this is a really good way to load the long head. I mean, you're going to hit all heads of your tricep, but it's a really stable way to perform a tricep pushdown. So for me, I don't have many exercises. I'm not going to do a lot of sets. So I don't mind dragging over a bench. And anyways, I'm going to do that on the next exercise, which is going to be a lying Y raise. So doing a lying Y raise is going to match the strength profile of the delt. So it's just good to have different strength profiles, resistance profiles on any sort of lateral delt or the overhead press doesn't really need that, but any sort of lateral raise variation, when you do a short position, a lengthened mid position, you're pretty much going to optimize or maximize the lateral head of the shoulder, right? You're going to optimize its growth by changing up throughout the week the exercises that you do. So I chose a lying Y raise. Now, this specific movement I learned from Joe Bennett. You do it on the bench, lying down, and you put the cable around wrist height, and then from there, you start to perform a Y raise lying down. And that is, again, that's going to target predominantly the medial head and a little bit of the front delt as well. So you do want to make sure the cable is not going too high up, or else you're going to go into shoulder flexion as you come into that Y position. So I'd make it more of like an outward motion as opposed to like coming back motion, which you guys are going to see in this video. I'm going to edit it in there. Anyways, you guys get the point there. Then we have a lat pull down machine. So I'm going to do this with a, it's going to be another sagittal pull. So the lats, if you guys don't know, there are three main divisions or three regions. There is the thoracic, lumbar, and pelvic region. So upper, middle, lower, let's just say that, upper, middle, lower lats. Now, when you do any sort of lat pull down machine, depending on which lat pull down you do, if you do one where your arms are in front of you and you're doing this type of motion, you're going to get predominantly upper lats and a little bit of middle lat, but predominantly upper lat. Then when you do a shoulder adduction where your arm is out to the side, you're doing this, you're going to get more middle and lower lat. So it's good to have two of those exercises. Now, there's been controversy on whether or not you should do a lat pull down twice in that week or you should do it once in that week. Now, in my opinion, it's just hard to put into practice if you're going to put a lat pull down machine. If you're going to put two lat movements, one shoulder adduction and one sagittal plane, I can see how performing two of those exercises in the same day could be beneficial if you want to get bigger lats. Yeah, you can make it work, but I don't think it's necessary for the majority of people. You know, if you want to grow your lats, you can still do a lat pull down, frontal plane and sagittal plane in different days, and you'll be fine. It just depends on what your priorities are. That's really all I'm going to say there. But for me, I want to get bigger lats, but they are not going to be more important than my shoulders or my arms. So in this case, I'm going to do a lat pull down machine where my arm is around 120 degrees. My shoulder is going to be at like slightly in front of me. I have a chest support. I have the foot support. It's a really good machine. I get to change the resistance profile again. So I'm going to do, I'm going to make it equally as hard in the middle and end range. Sorry, I'm going to make it more difficult at the top and the middle. And then toward the end, I'm going to make sure that it is difficult, but not as difficult. So I'm going to slightly change the resistance profile compared to the chest supported row there. If you can't do that, if you can't change the resistance profile, to be honest, you still have a really good exercise selection here. So I wouldn't worry so much about it. You could do a lat pull down. Honestly, you could do, if you guys want to follow this program, I would do a lat pull down frontal plane instead if you don't have the machine I'm referring to. You could do it on that upper 2-day. So a wide grip pull down basically is what I'm referring to. You have that, and then you have the incline chest press. So the incline chest press machine, I haven't used it yet. Essentially, my goal there is to get some front delt and some upper pec. So if you don't have an incline chest press machine where you are at an incline, I do recommend that you do a Smith machine at an incline. I prefer you do that over a hammer strength incline machine because the hammer strength, the resistance profile is so trash. So I would recommend that you do a Smith machine incline press instead. Then after that, you have a chest supported, I have a chest supported T-bar row. So the chest supported T-bar row, I haven't done them in a minute. I missed them, so I want to do them again. But I may or may not switch that out for an upper back row, depending on how fatigued I'll feel after this. Then after the chest supported T-bar row, we are going to finish it off with a reverse pec deck, which is going to be a rear delt fly. So that is going to be upper 2. Now to finish off the program, what do we have for upper 3? Upper 3 is going to be a cable curl. Okay, so the cable curl, upper 3. I want to make sure that the majority exercises are pretty easy in terms of setting up, right? Or they're pretty stable. I want to make sure they're as stable as possible. I'm looking for stability. I'm looking for easy setup and not much of a hassle in the gym and loading up plates and stuff. So I can just get my workout in. And this is considered, I'm looking to directly hit every single muscle in this specific upper body rotation exercise workout. Jesus Christ. In this specific upper body workout, upper three, we're focused on hitting every muscle group to the best of our abilities. We also want to do it with most machines that we can use with just the stacks. So putting plates can be a bit fatiguing, but due to my equipment that I have accessible, I will have two machines that are plate loaded. If you have all these machines that are pin loaded, I suggest you do it that way. That way you kind of, you don't have to load up plates. But if you don't mind loading plates and if you're not that strong, you're not using that much plates, then it's irrelevant. You have a cable curl, a machine dip. The machine dip is also going to work the lateral and medial head because, again, the shoulder and the elbow are both moving at the same time. And then we also have the machine shoulder press. So I'm going to do the machine shoulder press in the frontal plane. So it's going to be very similar to the Smith machine shoulder press in the frontal plane. But this time my shoulders are going to get a little bit more adduction. So it's going to work like all parts of the lateral head, which is what I like. And then we have the cable lat pull down. So this is where I'm putting my wide grip pull down machine. Again, it's a stack, it's stable, and it's going to hit most divisions of the lats. So it's you're better off doing a cable lat pull down there. Then we have a chest press machine. So a chest press is going to be, this is going to be a converging chest press. Make sure it's pin loaded. And then lastly, I'm going to do a upper back row. So the upper back row is just going to have my elbows more flared out. And also I'm going to make sure that I'm coming all the way back to hit my traps and my rear delts. And that is that. That is the upper lower program. All right. So I don't know what questions you guys may have of the program. Let me just think of some on the fly, but if you have any questions, put it down in the comments down below. But overall, how many sets and how many reps I'm going to be doing. So for my practice and what I'm taking into 2025, and what I want to do with this program is I want to put it at a max of 10 sets per workout. Now you could adjust it where it's a max of 12 sets. Me personally, I like to do it at 10. I just feel fresh. I feel good. I don't feel like I'm pushing myself too hard, and I feel really well recovered. So if you're someone who, for some reason, you like to do more sets, you like to do more in the workout, then you feel free to add one or two sets to the first couple exercises, and see how you feel, see how fast you recovered. I would probably start off doing only 10 sets, do that for 4 weeks, and then you can increase it to 11 and then 12 for the whole workout, and see if you see how you feel, see if you feel okay. But yeah, I'm going to most likely do, again, 10 sets per workout, but 2 sets for legs, probably every single, I probably have like 2 sets, and then 1 set toward the end. So I don't have the specific numbers written out yet. That's gonna be in part two. Then the rep range is also going to be around a 4 to 8 rep range. So I'm not gonna go under 4 reps, although I do think you can get some pretty good results with 3 reps. But for me, I like a 4 to 6 rep range. Sometimes 6 to 8 or 5 to 7, depending on the exercise, depending on where it's at. So again, that's gonna be in part two. And then after that, we also have the reason why I chose the exercise order is based off of priority and based off of just what's practical. I think that covers it, you know. For the upper body workouts, by the way, it's most likely only going to be 1 or 2 sets. So total volume that you're looking at throughout the week For the legs, it's going to be roughly like 6 sets per muscle group, maybe 7 or maybe 5. And then you're also looking at for the upper body between 5 sets to 6 sets per week, maybe 4. And the reason why is because of the frequency. If the frequency was 2 times a week, I would up the volume. But in this case, since we're training it more frequent, we do have to be cautious of not doing too much volume and being fully recovered, or else it'd be pointless. It'd be pointless to train more frequent. You are literally like you're causing more fatigue. You haven't adapted yet. So you're actually making it worse. You're going the other direction. You're not building muscle, you're atrophying. So that's a big thing that people don't realize. When you train with pretty low reps, and the reason why I don't like to go above 8 reps is because you just cause more fatigue, so it takes longer to recover within the workout itself and after the workout. So those are two different things. And also, it might alter your perception of effort when you start to increase your metabolites. You have to focus on coordination over time. I find that when you go like above 10, I don't really, I think, in my opinion, I think you're not really training close to failure as much as you may think. Obviously, if you like go to where you can't even move anymore, or you can't perform a task anymore, then yeah, you have reached task failure for sure. But you can see a big difference as you cause more and more fatigue and central nervous system fatigue. Your perception of effort over time and the amount of fatigue that you have accumulated, I feel like is just dramatically decreased. So your performance and your output toward the end of the session, the end of the workout, I feel like is very shit. Like, think about it. You caused so much fatigue. You had a lot of motor unit recruitment. You're probably not going to have much high threshold motor unit recruitment toward the end of the session if you're doing high rep stuff like all the time. So that's the reason why I don't like doing high rep stuff. And you could debate me on that. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just my opinion, and based off of my knowledge and current knowledge and awareness, that's my thought process. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, I just want to make sure I answer the questions here. So why am I doing chest? I'm only doing 2 chest presses, right, and a chest fly. I'm doing 1 incline chest press, a chest press, and a chest fly. Doing a chest supported row, lat pull down, and a frontal plane. Doing a lying Y raises, so the shoulder abduction. And why? And you guys may ask, why am I only doing a? If this is a shoulder, predominantly shoulder, why isn't there more shoulder abduction exercises? Why is there not a dumbbell lateral raise? Why is there not maybe front raises? Why am I only doing that once a week? Why am I only doing a reverse pec deck? Well, people don't realize that when you do a lat pull down, this is mainly in the sagittal plane, and when you do a row, you are working your rear delt. So I'm looking at what's efficient. I'm looking at what is gonna like save me time, and also what exercises would be better off being used. So if I put lateral raises and cable rear delt flies and all that stuff, I'm probably just causing more fatigue, not getting much stimulus, because I would have to prioritize my multi-joint movements, my other movements over that one. And then I'm going to do it at the end of the set, and then I'm not getting much out of it. So there's just no point, in my opinion. So that's why I only put it at only put it in once a week. I don't think I needed more than that. Also, from my legs, the legs. If you want to get a little bit more glute, you can probably switch one of the exercises, the hip adduction. So if you don't want to do a hip adduction, you could probably do a hip abduction, or maybe like another glute exercise that you want to do. You can totally do that, but looking at my specific legs, and what I feel like, even for most people, if you want to get bigger legs in general, I would advise that you do the hip adductors. That's pretty much it. I can't think of anything. So hopefully this covers the whole damn video. And hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully you understand my thought process behind things. And I will absolutely see you in part 2. So make sure that you click on part 2 and get ready for the best gains possible. You're going to have the perfect program. You're going to have the most optimal split. I mean, this is by far supported by all the evidence. There's been anecdotal evidence, all sorts of evidence that this is absolutely the absolute best program. If you're not doing this program, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. As a matter of fact, you probably are going to lose all your muscle. So if you've been training for 10 years and you're on steroids and testosterone, it doesn't matter. You will start to atrophy. You will look like a little bitch if you don't do this program. So if you want to get girls, if you want to, you look jacked, if you want to get compliments by your friends and even your family, if you want them to finally acknowledge your gains, you have to do this program or else you will die. So yeah, go ahead and comment down below. Obviously, that's me trolling. And yeah, let's do it. See you in the next video.